Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Ghostrunner 2 walkthrough, and this is mission 1 called Uninvited Guests. And this is of course the tutorial level of the game, where we will learn the basic mechanics used to get around in Dharma City and onwards. And for anyone who's played the first game, a lot of this will feel very familiar to you, which I think is a great thing. But they have added a few different things in the game mechanics. And the first thing you will learn in this level is that Jack has now learned how to block incoming attacks. In the first game you could, if you swung your sword at the right moment just before a bullet hit you or something like that, you could parry it. That you can still do in this game, but if you hold down the block button, for me the block button is R1 because I use the controller layout called Classic Alternative or Classic Alt in the menu. Whichever controller layout is that you use is of course entirely up to you. I was quite disappointed when I first started playing this game, because in the original game you could remap the controls however you wanted. And in this game, at this point at least, that might change in the future if they decide to patch it, but you cannot remap the controls as you wish in this one, which I think is a very odd design choice, why you would choose to limit the player's choices, especially in a game like this that requires a lot of... Sometimes it requires quite a few button presses at a very short period of time, and then you want to be really comfortable with the controls, I think. So in the first game I had the swing button linked to R1, and having to relearn that now it's R2, and I can understand why they put it there, because since the R2 button is like a trigger, it has to travel inwards. It sort of, by stretching it, mimics a trigger or swinging. It is a trigger button, but it mimics the swinging of the sword, was what I was gonna say. But I digress. What I was going to talk about was the block function. You saw right there with the trigger guy in the previous room. If you press block just before a bullet hits you, Jack will parry it and send it back towards the one that's fired it at you. And if you continue to hold down the button afterwards, or hold down the button before a bullet gets close to you, he will simply block it. But an important thing to know, when it comes to triggers, those machine gun fellas, I think I called them riflemen in my walkthrough for the first game, but triggers is their official name. I'm gonna try to use the official names this time, for at least the enemies I know the official names of. But triggers have not changed much from the first game. They still love to flush those clips. And Jack, this is something you need to be aware of, or they will make you aware of it. He cannot block an entire clip. So as you saw with that first trigger, I blocked just before the bullet hit me, sent it back and moved out of the way. That is, I think, one of the best strategies you can employ against triggers, or just move to the side, strafe around them. Because Jack is slightly faster than they are. They will not be able to clock you as long as you keep moving. And that applies to a lot of enemies in this game. Always move to the side, never stand still. Except for maybe with these melee fellas. The dudes with the nightsticks, they are basically just cannon fodder.
They seem determined.
And also another thing that they have introduced in this game, which they have tweaked the mechanics of...
Can't we secure the reactor remotely?
we will learn other abilities as we go along, and I'm just mentioning it now. I'm gonna talk more in depth about it when it becomes more relevant further on in the game. But I must say, it feels really good to be back in Dharma City. I got so happy when I saw that this game was coming out, and I've enjoyed playing this game so much, had so much fun with this. So it's really fun, and I really like it. Has the same feel as the first game. Everything flows so well. But here is another new mechanic. Sometimes you will come across these big signs that you can pull over, and you can use them to kill enemies. That is what you're supposed to do in this room. These 3 enemies are set up for you to pull down that sign on the left to take all of them out. For some reason I did not do that. I suffered a brain fart. So I decided to do it the hard way. But same thing here, just pull down the sign, take out both of them at once. Make it easy on yourself. But that is, sometimes I make mistakes and I tell you about them so you don't have to repeat them. But going over here to take out the key, the dude with the gun, I'm gonna show you how they work. Just pull it down and down goes the key. So then we can just take out these 2 melee fellas and head for the exit. So I want to welcome you to this walkthrough. I hope you will enjoy it, and I hope you will find it helpful, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.